64 more cases from yesterday. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins me in studio with more on this. Fred, what are we learning?
Well, before you just mentioned, case count is 132, as you see on the Ghana Health Service page. We've had 64 new cases. The specific breakdown is not provided on the website for the new cases, but information tweeted by the Disease Surveillance Department of the Ghana Health Service gives a breakdown of the totality of the cases we've recorded so far. So I'll give you based on what they've tweeted. It says 54 cases were detected through regular surveillance, and this doesn't give clear indication of the source. I mean, whether it is imported or a community spread. 78 cases were also confirmed among travelers who were taken into mandatory quarantine. The website still confirms only 3 deaths, so this brings the total to 132 figure. This is expected to change soon because we know about the 4th death, which the system is not reporting yet, MFR.
Okay, so we also know that 78 out of these cases were from those that have been quarantined, right? The mandatory quarantine, that's what we are picking up. But what's the global situation? You have been following this through and through. Give us an update on what we know. So far,
we've had 472,000 and more infections. 114,000 plus have recovered from those infections, and we've had 21,000 persons who have died. In terms of the league tables, the countries with the highest, we have China, Italy, USA, Spain, Germany, Iran, and others. But in terms of deaths, you have Italy topping at more than 7,500, about twice what China suffered.
Well, that's the latest situation. Thank you very much. Fred Smith is the head of our health desk here. 132. These are the figures that we are looking at. 64 more cases from yesterday. 78 out of them were from those that are in mandatory quarantine. Meanwhile, government officials have been briefing political parties on the situation. The NDC, NPP, CPP, and NDP are represented at this meeting. Deputy Health Minister Alexander Aban described the situation as helpless.
There were some people who were going around saying that the president has actually imported some disease into the country, and they were even insulting him. And I said, oh, how could that be? Because after all, the business of governance is over a people. So if you kill your people, how are you going to even govern? But that is part of the misinformation. What we have to know that this COVID-19 has actually made us aware that despite all the sophistication of this world and all the things that we can boast of, we have been shown how limited we are, because we are dealing with an invisible enemy, and we are not able, in fact we are completely helpless. That is the point. And guided by that, we should now know that when we are going to war, what we require is unity of purpose. Unity of purpose. So for now, every political party, we all have to just go into the armory and put on all our accoutrement, all the gadgets that we need for the fight. Because if we start doing internal bickerings and we think that, oh, it is business as usual, before we realize we'll be overtaken by events. This is not a time that we have to try and build political capital out of a very serious situation. The situation is precarious. We need everybody to be on deck.
You have the Deputy Health Minister Alexander Aban. Now, Information Minister Kojo Ponkruma has been explaining the rationale for this particular meeting.
As I'm sure you are aware, we are in the midst of a national challenge that we are dealing with. Indeed, it's a global challenge, which has a Ghanaian dimension, and we have been dealing with it for some weeks now. One of the key pillars of global pandemics like this, or pandemics like this, is risk communications and social mobilization. And I'm sure that for all the political parties that are here, you are very familiar with public health management, and in particular risk communications and social mobilization at times like this. The Ghana Health Service, as I'm sure you're aware, has a risk communications and social mobilization team that has been leading the exercise. We have been providing support and some background help where necessary. One of the groups that they squarely believe requires engaging is the political parties, and there's a reason for that. It's because Political parties, among other things, have very large following who sometimes believe they are following more than even the experts or anybody else. So at a time like this, when you are trying to get as many people as possible mobilized to follow a particular path as part of the preventive measures, you cannot leave out political parties. Again, it is also because political parties in our construct here in Ghana, literally on a daily basis, are part of the national communication exercise on many radio and TV and social media platforms, and are also participating in various conversations and engagements and putting out views and facts and sometimes alternate facts, etc., etc.
You had the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah at that meeting with political parties. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins us shortly with that. But I must say that Kojo Nkrumah has been tweeting about the latest incident, the number of cases recorded, and he says that the Ghana Health Service will in the coming hours share data on the many numbers that are well, responding to treatment or recovered. We're following that shortly. But let's go to my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson now. Kwesi, what can you report from that meeting?
Well, let me start from where you just ended, where the Information Minister has been tweeting about the number of cases. The Dr. Nshasari, just a while ago, announced that the cases have been recorded as 72. That is what we have been told this very afternoon. Now, moving on, the Deputy Minister responsible for health, Mr. Alexander Aban, has been cautioning the political parties who are present here against the use of, the pandemic to score 2 political points. His point is that the invisible enemy is our enemy and not the enemy of the government. So he's expecting all political parties to come on board to fight the common enemy. And he is happy that the NDC, being the largest opposition party, is present in this particular meeting. And if I spend me a minute to just speak to the Deputy Information Minister, Pius Hajide, who has joined me right now, to find out what exactly government is seeking to achieve with this sensitization program with the political parties. What is government seeking to achieve with this, sir?
Well, thank you very much. Political parties are an essential stakeholder in the country's efforts to confront this pandemic. Bear in mind also that we are working under the social gathering directions of His Excellency the President, the social distancing instructions by the WHO. Political parties, by their nature and the conduct of their business, they are involved in mobilization and gatherings. And so we think that we have to align with them on the do's and don'ts.
You had the Deputy Information Minister, Pius Hajide, essentially reiterating the same point that was made earlier by the Information Minister, interacting there with my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson. But a quarter of the world's population is currently on lockdown, and there are proposals for Ghana to do same, but that has been met with mixed reactions. Countries such as the UK, South Africa, and some states in the US have all imposed a lockdown as a means of curbing the spread of the virus. Here in Ghana, medical experts are divided over the matter. Here's a News Desk report.
All options are on the table. Government continues to receive advice which is subjected to analysis.
Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah announcing government will only take action after experts speak. But the health experts are divided. The first to have called for a gradual lockdown is a senior research fellow at Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Dr. Kofi Boni.
We can do a gradual looking at essential workers. They can be going. And even that one, we can cut down the numbers because people are taking public transport. That is the issue. I'm thinking we can do it gradually, this lockdown.
The Ghana Medical Association agrees with Dr. Boni, except they want it to be taken with immediate effect.
Now, the question we should ask ourselves, do we want to go to the levels of Italy and the likes before we try to break the chain of transmission? It has become imperative that we take these measures now. Again,
another aspect, this time a virologist with the Kumasi Center for Research into Tropical Medicine, Dr. Michael Owusu, says the approach proposed by the GMA is wrong.
You must know the exact burden of the disease at the community level. It is the community cases that sparks outbreak. So once you understand the burden of the case, you can lock it down. And whilst lockdown is ongoing, you still test. You still do mass testing.
These are all health experts, but they are not the only ones making arguments. Community NGOs are also kicking against a total lockdown as they fear the slums will be greatly affected.
If there's a lockdown, we will be the hardest hit. Majority of the residents of Zongo's inner cities and slums are in the informal sector. We don't have savings, we don't have salaries. Now how are we going to survive? Issues of sustenance, issues of water, issues of food would kill people, not COVID-19. You cannot lock down the city when you haven't provided for the informal sector to survive.
It appears government will have a Herculean task making this decision. Lockdown to mitigate the spread, or leave it open so the ordinary Ghanaian survives.
The views of some experts in that help desk report, but we can hear from some Ghanaians. They've been sharing their thoughts as well. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba visited Jamestown, a suburb of Accra, and some residents say they do not support a lockdown because it will be a challenge to fend for themselves and their families.
Well, I'm at a cornmeal shop here at Jamestown. The street here never goes to sleep. It is a close-knit society with many of the people here in the informal sector. We've seen some calls also for a lockdown, as some countries have already done. What does it mean for a community with majority of its people being in the informal sector? Well, I've met about 5 gentlemen here eating at the cornmeal shop. They're eating banku with fried fish, with pepper. Manchester, that's all with me. Wayo, in a show, lockdown, pinena, onu lockdown na wike coronavirus na dey bana awie san ni e show ke onu ni bi PA don't know why you about wa because why ne wa waji mo gbe ni tolerant na edanma. Well, he says for the residents of Jamestown it would be very difficult to adhere to a lockdown here because some people would have to go out to go and fend for themselves in order to get food. There's going to be a restriction in movement and an imposition of a lockdown. Government would have to find a way of supporting the people here, because even when they were barred from going on fishing.
Now that's Maxwell Agbagba interacting with some residents of Jamestown. My colleague Hannah Odame has also been finding out from some petty traders that their survival strategy, should that option be rolled out. Most of them say they will be hungry.
Echo Francis, your water distributor, and your president, a Sunday. There is a lot down about, and you have said with a Padina Yenibin, a business at the Emma, business at the Ayram. You can bread the man, son, at the Yenibin, a bit of a lockdown to buy.
He is saying that he does not agree should the president decide to have a lockdown. Why? Because he, for instance, is a water distributor. A lot of communities in Greater Accra do not have access to potable water. And so this is what they rely on. Should there be a lockdown, how will the people get water to drink? And he also has to sell this every day to enable him get money to be able to feed himself and his family.
Me no dey be ha me bebre because me so me kita nkwala me ha to maf na me ye nti e be ha me kasa
e mo e ton ade fara be ha o mo ye ejuma ti a me ejuma ni fara mo ji bu ejuma ni pon ko ejuma ko afa bu so o be.
The coconut seller is saying that he fully supports a lockdown, but he has some concern. He thinks that a lockdown will mean no daily bread because he has to sell coconuts on a daily basis to be able to fend for himself and his family. To him, there is absolutely no way he can stay in the house for even a week.
For me, I'm not well prepared for now, but Sabani critical, I have to get prepared. And to be on one to me and prepare no say. Maybe I can say 1 month, 2 months. On Tinefie, on Bacrom, on Metron, no news can be and the bush. Then I bind the bay I found.
According to her, she may be able to survive a lockdown, but her concern is for families who will not be able to do so. She is therefore asking authorities in charge to at least find another solution, another option, rather than a lockdown.
Well, that's my colleague Hannah Odame interacting with some petty traders on their readiness. Should there be a lockdown? Well, the president has been meeting the Trades Union Congress. I'll give you details shortly. But the management of the Ghana Water Company Limited has introduced a temporary billing regime to bill customers. Kwete Nati has details of it. What does it say?
So, Ghana Water says that its customers will for the next few months be billed on estimated consumption based on an average of their consumption from January to March 2020. And according to them, this has become necessary so as to reduce the frequency of visits by their meter readers to the premises of customers. So they are assuring that when the situation normalizes, the meter readers
will resume, and then anomalies will be rectified. So in effect, if you've consumed more or less than you have been billed over the period, it will reflect in the meter readings and subsequently be corrected by the billing system.
Okay. Well, we'll get more subsequently on this. A lot of measures being put in place. But the leadership of the Trade Union Congress is currently meeting. President Akufo-Addo, like I said, they are meeting to take steps by government to stem further spread of the coronavirus. Ghana's case now stands at 132, with calls on government to lock the country down. Presidential Affairs correspondent Elton John Brobe joins us from the Jubilee House. Elton, what have the discussions centered on largely?
So, the TUC came with their own set of demands. First, amongst them, they want government to make hand sanitizer free or subsidize it. But more importantly, they are saying that the risk of further spread of the virus known as COVID-19 remains high, and that requires a lockdown. Now, President Akufo-Addo has been responding to this particular issue of a lockdown, which has dominated the media landscape. Now, first, what he's saying is that if there should be a lock-up, that would affect majority of our people. And these are people who are in the working class and ordinary Ghanaians. So government is looking at all options. Government is constantly reviewing what is done so far, and the lockdown is on the table. And government is looking at the implications, the conditions of the people, their circumstances before they will come to that decision. And once the decision is made, the outcome will be communicated to the people of Ghana. In brief, a lockdown is on the table, but no decision taken yet.
But was the TUC satisfied with the response given to them by the president, especially when they are pushing for it?
So what has been the tradition since the outbreak of this coronavirus and government engagement with interest by the Jubilee House is that once they come in, there is the informal meeting where the media is allowed to listen in. So this was the introductory part. Now they are in the closed door session where some of the key issues that TUC is of the view should be considered to stem further spread of the virus, because they control a large majority of the working class and government position on it. So you have a high-powered government delegation led by the president, the minister for national security, the minister for trade, and representatives from the government, and the TUC, a 5-member committee comprising the leadership. They are looking at all the options, and once that is done, they will work out of this meeting, knowing what they will communicate to their members, whether there's going to be a lockdown or not. But from the president's point of view, a lockdown will only happen after government has exhausted the condition and the circumstances of our people, and how that will impact on our social life going forward.
That's Presidential Affairs correspondent Elton Brobe. Stay there at the Jubilee House and give us all the gist subsequently. Now, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union is expected to meet the president tomorrow. They will take their turn towards finding solution to the COVID-19 spread. Now, this follows concerns raised about congestion in the public transport system. The GPRTU has proposed spacing up the seating arrangements in line with the social distancing directive. Here's Chairman of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Kwame Kuma, speaking on the PM Express last night.
We are going to meet on Friday, meet the minister and discuss and finalize it. So, to refresh the meeting on Friday before we will come out for everybody to know what we are doing. As we met with the president and we have discussed a lot of things. So we are meeting the ministry on Friday, all the stakeholders. So after the Friday meeting, we will come out with a communique for everybody to.
Now, transport consultant Dr. Godfred Achia Dakwa says if the social distancing has been prescribed by the experts is anything to go by, then government must reduce fuel prices drastically to aid transport operators cope.
The best way is that if there's going to be a permanent lockdown for 2 weeks, no movement at all, just give about 2 days, 3 days notice where people should do their shopping. We have to close down the country completely for 2 weeks.
So people won't use transport at all?
No transport at all.
Now, operators of the Intercity Transport Company, a VIP, are witnessing one of their leanest seasons as passenger volumes drop due to the coronavirus pandemic. From an average of 50 trips a day on the Accra-Kumasi route, 3 trips are now hardly accomplished. Managers say patronage has reduced as public concern grows about health risk from traveling. We can hear from Ohiming Teria. He visited the VIP bus terminal in Kumasi, and here's this report.
VIP terminal until now has been a busy place for travelers and hawkers who conduct brisk business here. But the advent of COVID-19 pandemic has reduced traffic here. Low traffic means coaches take longer hours to be loaded to full capacity. Tens of coaches have been rendered idle at the Dade Swaba parking yard of the company. Professor Lukumont Owusu-Ansah is Director of Finance and Strategy at the VIP Juan Transport Services.
Yesterday, Accra, we load only 3 buses. On average, a day we load about 50 buses. But it seems the turnout is low because everybody is skeptical and everybody is trying to see the way forward. So it has affected the business significantly.
Amid the current situation, the company has introduced measures to protect the traveling public against COVID-19. Significant among them is the ban on eating on the bus.
There are people who want to eat fried eggs, Indomie on board the bus. I appeal to them to stop. We have educated drivers and their mates to stop people from the habit. Passengers can take advantage of our 15-minute stop over to have a snack.
Hand washing and sanitizing complement disinfection of buses before they set off on a journey.
We have sprayed our buses and we have put in place water and sanitizers at the vantage points. You wash your hands with the soap, with tissues and everything before you enter the buses.
What about the issue of social distancing? I know the bus, in some instances, some have to stay closer to each other.
We are making the necessary arrangements. If we can reduce the number, we are in consultation with the medical experts.
That's Heming Terrier's report from the BIP bus terminal in Kumasi. In case you missed it, Ghana's cases of coronavirus in the triple digits now as it shoots up to 132. We brought you details also in the coming hours. We'll get to hear about those recovering. When we return from the break, we have sports and also as talks on limiting the spread of COVID-19 among communities continue, Ghanaians push for a heavy decongestion of Ghana's prisons.
Cases like somebody the mobile phone, those minor cases, I think we should leave them.
The death penalties, those people, what are they doing? If we know we cannot kill them, why do we then impose death penalty?
This minor offense, we should quickly look at it.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time now for sports. George Adu Jr.
Oh, it's good to have you back. How are you doing then?
I'm doing well,
All
George.
right, so let's get into the sport this afternoon. And the Ghana Olympic Committee is looking to make the most of the extra 12 months ahead of the postponed 2020 Summer Olympics to increase the number of qualified Ghanaian athletes at a multi-sport event. Ghana is looking to add to sprinters Joseph Paul, boxers Suleiman Atete and Samuel Techi, who are Tokyo bound. President of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Ben Mensah, wants to take advantage of the new qualifying window.
There is a bit of an advantage to a country like Ghana. I'm not seeing any disadvantage, or I'm not seeing anything that would adversely affect the games if it's going to be held in 6 months or in 12 months' time. It is now time that I can go to Honorable Isiama and say, look, these are young boys and girls who on their own have hustled through maybe a bit of help from the GOC. We as a nation did not even invest in their training. Can we now go and find some money? And if it's our boxers, say, look, it's about 5 months or 6 months to the Olympics. Can we send these our boxers to go and camp in, say, in a country like Cuba, where we know that when it comes to amateur boxing, they are about the best in the world. If it got to do with our table tennis team, we have 6 or 7 months to the Olympics.
Ghana Olympic Committee President Ben Mensah. That's your sport, MFA.
Thank you very much, George Adu Jr.
In these days of coronavirus, could you please find out from government the measures they have put in place for us in the prisons? And though we are confined, we have officers who move to town and back every day. Who knows? They could carry the virus into the various yards if they get into contact with an infected person.
You have a plea from a prisoner who wrote to the Super Morning Show today. Subsequently, there's a call from a section of the citizenry for government to decongest prisons across the country. This comes in the wake of the outbreak of COVID-19. Social distancing and the lockdown have been top on the recommendations to government to help mitigate community spread of the virus. You've heard from the Ghana Medical Association and, of course, the TUC today. However, today, as the Super Morning Show focused on the prison, some listeners who called in urged government to heavily decongest the prisons to help contain the situation. We'll get to hear from them shortly, but first, listen to Deputy PRO of the Ghana Prison Service, DSP Daniel Machato, giving us a breakdown of the number of inmates per facility in some of our prisons.
The male side of the Nsawam Medium Security Prison was actually built to house about 790 inmates. As we speak, we are housing over 3,500 inmates there. The Kumasi Central Prison was built to house about 600 inmates. Currently, the number is around 2,000. At times, it rises to about 2,500. A prison that was built for 600. The Sekendi Central Prison was built to house about 400 prisoners. Currently, it's housing close to 900 prisoners. From 400 to 900.
That's the Deputy PR of the Ghana Prison Service, DSP Daniel Machato, on the Super Morning Show today. You can now hear from some of the callers into the show who are largely pushing for non-custodial sentences.
This is very serious. I want the judiciary to look into cases, people that their cases are not criminal cases like armed robbery and murder and things that are serious, so that they release those people and let them go home so that this place can be safe for them as well.
We are talking about curbing this spread today, not for the safety of only the inmates alone, but the officers as well. And like you were saying, anybody at all can end up there. In fact, they are dying, and I think something must be done.
Where was the prison leadership? Where were they? Who know that, for instance, Kumasi prison should have taken, and it's taking 2,000. They should have fought for the right thing to be done.
Some callers into the Super Morning Show today. What's trending on social media? Nancy MFA Jadosi.
Well, MFA COVID 2020 Ghana is trending. It says that Opanka is saying that I remember that I once told a woman at a store to use gloves and nose mask before she sells to me. And she asked me if I look at her, does she look like someone who can get corona? Guys, let's take this very serious because it can hurt you. Another one says a total lockdown party, it will really affect me. So government must reconsider. Others are saying that we must all take precautions and make sure that we don't infect others. And so yes, that's what is trending on social media.
We'll keep on washing our hands. Nancy, thank you. And that's it for the midday news. Our top story: Ghana has recorded 132 cases of the coronavirus, 78 of them from mandatory quarantine. Of course, we'll get some updates subsequently on how many have recovered so far. But in the meantime, stay calm, stay safe, and save lives. Continue to wash your hands regularly and take all the precautionary measures. I am MFA Paul. Also, we are staying at Arrive Alive.